Good day, everyone. This is Pineleaf Noodles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Hello there, Drek. How are the dark times coming along?
Coming along well. Proceeding very dark and brooding over here in Barovia and Ravenloft.
Ah, yes. I guess you're happy that those short night summers are going away.
Indeed. Pesky summer.
Pesky summer, yes. Let's now look into what's happening at the DDO, and we have some downtime coming, well, tomorrow as we're doing this recording, probably afterwards if you're listening to the podcast version, where they're going to be releasing an update.
Yes, it is going to be, as you said, Tuesday, October the 17th, from 9:30 a.m. until 2 p.m. And, of course, this is to release Update 36, Patch 3. And you might be asking yourself, what the heck is Update 36, Patch 3? Well, we have release notes to share with you. I think big thing is Night Rebels. Yay, the Night Rebels is coming back. And with it is a new spooky dungeon this year.
Ooh, of Coalescence Chamber?
Oh, God, they spookified Cold Chamber. It's evil. Whoever was, I want to say it was Torque, I think. I can't remember which dev for sure did it, but you, sir, are evil, and I like it.
I'm trying to think of which one is Coalescence Chamber.
You would remember it. We ran it one time, and you hated it.
Oh, okay.
Everybody hates Cold Chamber.
Oh, now did they make it so that you won't hate it as much?
It's shorter than the regular Cold Chamber run, but it's still kind of sucky. Cold Chamber is the one out in the Veil of Twilight. It's part of flagging for the Shroud Raid. It is the one where you have to run up the cave spire, and you're running up and up and up, and you're going through doors, and then you're going up, and then you have to take like steam jets to jump up and jump over.
Oh, good.
And there's steam jets that can knock you off, and then when you fall off, you fall clear down to the very bottom, and then you got to go all the way back out to the top again. So
you're right. I'm sure you are absolutely correct that when we did it, that I thoroughly hated it.
You did. We ran it just to because we flagged you for Shroud, so you can run Shroud.
Right.
And I want to say Bonnie Bew was with us, and we kind of like speed ran it actually because we knew you were going to hate it because it's horrible. I say. But yes, the Night Rebels version is a little different. It's a little shorter. You still have the run-up and everything, but it's not quite as bad, but we'll see. And then, of course, all the classic Night Rebels dungeons will be back. The other big thing about Night Rebels this year is the items have all been updated. They now have a level 28 upgrade to them. So people that were wanting to upgrade their Night Rebels items, you may now go up to level 28. And then elsewhere, some classes are getting some passes. Again, clerics on pass are no longer forced to select their Tier 2 and higher domain feats. All classes and iconic heroes now use custom as the default option when the pass stage in character creation is opened. Clerics on the Font of Healing path will now consistently receive the healing domain, which makes sense. As they're on the healing path, they probably want the healing domain. And then clerics on the Scourge of the Undead path will now receive the good domain. Clerics on the War Priest path now consistently receive the war domain. And Sun Elf Morning Lords on the path now constantly receive, I'll give you one guess, the Sun domain.
Okay.
And the DDO store will now open in your system browser if the embedded browser fails to initialize. So basically what that means is if you go to open the store and for some reason it can't open it in-game, for some reason it fails to open a game, It will open in whatever browser you have set for default. It's going to try to open in-game first, but if that fails, you'll still get it in an external browser. And with that, of course, the browser for the in-game store has returned and now opens on all clients using Windows 7 Plus operating systems, provided that the option has been enabled in the UI options. Windows Vista and earlier, along with the Mac clients, will continue to use the default external web browser. And once again, the IT person in me says, why are you still running Vista? Number one, why were you running Vista in the first place would be my first statement. And my second statement would be, why are you still running Vista? And Mac people, sorry, you're just getting no love. No love for the Mac heads in the crowd, sorry. And then we have, of course, the Night Rebels. As we said, the Cold Chamber is getting a spooky variant, and that will be the 7th Night Rebels dungeon. Additional item rewards have been added to the item vendor, and everything is level 28 now, as I said. Most recipes have had their ingredients cost reduced significantly. And there is a red variant of the Reaper's plate mail this year. So it's just like the last year, it was kind of like it had like that bluish to it. This year, it's red. So I see a grind in my future. And then they do have the new items, which we will talk about in a bit. And looks like that's really about it. They did correct some animations with the Dragonborn.
Yeah, I am wondering about this one.
Okay.
Because they are, I guess I didn't notice the issue because I've been firing repeater. My main character that I've been using for solo runs lately has been a Dragonborn Artificer. So I've been firing quite a bit on the repeater crossbow. So therefore I guess it must be a subtle animation glitch if I have not noticed it at all.
Yeah, and see, and my Dragonborn's my warlock, so I just like shoot red fireballs out of my mouth.
Okay.
So I didn't see it either, but yes. But what we're talking about is they corrected an issue with the attack animations on the Dragonborn who wield melee weapons or crossbows with rune arms. Do you have a rune arm equipped? Maybe you have to have a crossbow.
Yes, I'm an artificer.
Okay, well then, if you didn't notice it, it must be very subtle, or you're just not very observant. Either one, I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know I did read on the forums people were complaining about it, so...
Maybe it's something that's easier to see if you're looking at the Dragonborn rather than being the Dragonborn yourself.
That could be, too. I didn't think of that, but that does make sense. And the iconic Deep Gnome was erroneously giving 1% dodge per rank in addition to its other bonuses. This has now been fixed. Reaper XP is now doubled for dungeons with a base CR of 30 or higher. And then, of course, the reincarnation changes that we talked about last week, which is going to allow them a better way of seeing if you have a problem during reincarnation, and it's going to try to stop that problem from even happening. We talked about that last week. If you want to hear a little bit more about that, Cordovan was on, and he spoke about that a little bit. And that is our release coming up for tomorrow, which is Update 36, Patch 3.
All right. I'm trying to think which of the two occasions on the Reaper difficulty fix thing is less likely. My ever doing anything on Reaper or my doing a dungeon at CR of 30 or higher while I am still not at level cap.
True.
Both of those sound like highly unlikely events in my gameplay.
Very true. I don't see either one of those happening at least anytime soon for you, sir.
And in combination, forget it. Let's head into an interview with Linabelle. And who exactly is Linabelle?
Linabelle was intern / system designer. She was very active on the forums and very active in game. She fixed a lot of errors. She fixed a lot of small things. She did a lot of other things. And it turns out she is responsible for all, I repeat, all of the items upcoming in the midst of Ravenloft expansion. She did them all.
Okay.
Plus a lot of other stuff. And we talked about that in the interview. It's kind of weird. Some of the Ravenloft stuff, of course, she couldn't talk about yet because she was still under NDA, but I did manage to get some stuff out of her. She did talk about the sentient weapons. She did talk about that. She actually created a couple of those sentient weapons, and she did talk about a short sword, and that is a very funny conversation, and she kind of let slip a little bit with what it does, kind of. She didn't spoil it a lot. But it's hilarious. You have to listen to the interview. Great interview. And I want to thank Linabelle for taking some time out and talking to me. It was just a fun little interview. And like I said, she was pretty active. There was a thread in the forum that was called Linabelle, Please Fix. And she fixed, I would say, probably 85% of the stuff that people put in that thread. So she was very active, and she did a lot of great work. And I hope one day when her school is over, she actually comes back and does some more work.
What, she did that over one summer or something?
Yes, she did it over last summer.
Okay, so therefore they're hoping that when she graduates, she comes on full time, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of asked her about that, and she said she didn't know because the way the game industry works, you never know.
Well, there is that. It is a very volatile industry, yes.
She said she would love to come back, though, so...
Okay.
And I'm sure the door is probably open for her. I mean, I can't speak for Standing Stone Games, but right. I'm sure they would love to have her back as well. So if you haven't listened to that interview, check it out. It was a fun little interview.
Right, then let's head into 2017 Night Revels Loot Preview. And you hinted about this a little bit earlier, so I guess you want to go. It looks like you're spoiling everything.
That's right. It's spoilers abound again. Everybody, spoiler alert. Though I can't really say it's much of a spoiler because it's in the release notes. Not too big of a spoiler at this point because they lay them out in the release notes. But yes, I did do a video when the money first went up with all of the new items, and then I did take a look at the other items that were updated to level 28 so you can see the stats on those. But mainly, I just wanted to show off the new stuff, which we have a new light pick, which is called the Pick of Endless Light. And that has Undead Bane, Corsating Light, Lightbringer, and what that does is on Vorpal, you destroy undead below 1,000 hit points, only on higher minimum level variants. And then it also has Sunburst, which has a chance for blind and area light damage.
All right, great. Now, did they intentionally mean this pun where the Pick of Endless Light is a light pick?
I assume they did, yes. I got a good chuckle out of that for a good minute after I first read that. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming that was intentional.
All right.
You know those crazy devs.
Yep.
And then we have a Morning Star, which is the Star of Endless Night, and that is unholy. It is evil aligned. Smashing, bludgeoned damage on crit. Piercing and combat mastery. Then there is a Great Club, which is called the Crystallized Eternity, and that has Tendon Slice, which I thought was kind of funny to have a Great Club that had Tendon Slice. That was kind of funny to me as well. And that does lightning damage as well. That is electrifying. And it also does ice damage on hit, which is freezing. And it's armor piercing.
Well, that's rather some weird stuff there, yes.
Yes, it is. And then we have the Spectral Dagger, which, of course, is a dagger, which I so want to get one of these. It has Ghost Bane on it, Ghost Touch. It bypasses the evade chance, deals Bane damage versus incorporeal monsters. And then it is Evil Outsider Bane, extra damage to those pesky Evil Outsiders. The Crushing, words are hard, force damage on a crit hit, and also Vorpal, extra damage on a Vorpal. Enemies with a few hit points are instantly slain. Others take a massive amount of damage. And then there is the Spectral Throwing Daggers as well. Ghostbane, Evil Outsider, Crushing, and Vorpal.
Oh, and Crushing?
Crushing.
Well, throwing daggers.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome daggers, apparently, because they do force damage. So, yes.
Okay.
And then I forgot to mention when we were talking about the release notes, but if you still have any 2016 candy ingredients laying around in your bags or your bank, sorry, they are no longer of use to you. The 2016 candy has been deprecated, so if you have any, and then any non-store bought keys, that is the key word. If you bought keys from the store, you can still use those keys this year. If you still had keys left from last year, those will turn to dust. They are no good.
Okay. Anything else?
That is pretty much it for the preview that I did. And as we said, the Night Rebels is going to be active starting tomorrow after the servers come up for the patch.
All right, good. Then let's head into our next segment, which is the Chronicle. Boy, we have been at this for quite a while, and we're finally getting to the Chronicle.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. We're like 19 minutes into the show, and we're just now getting to the Chronicle, which I think almost has to be a first, because usually we get to the Chronicle way before this.
Yeah, well, it looks like we've got some treasure to look forward to.
Yes, lots of gold. Gold is always good. This is the 254th edition of our Chronicle. We got a shout-out for our 150th episode with the look at Strahd that we had last week, which was awesome. And I do thank Standing Stone Games for allowing us to get the first look at Count Strahd himself. If you haven't seen that, go over to the site and check that out. Also, Alex has finished his part 2 of his short story series with new audio and a new written story. So if you listened or read part 1, you can check out part 2, which I, alas, have not done yet. I need to do that because I really enjoyed part 1. And then don't forget, Psycho Blonde is running a series of screenshot contests over on the forums and is linking to the winners in a master thread. So click over and check that out and find out what the theme of the week is and see all of the winners. And there has been some really good screenshots to come out of there. And I'm just jealous because I can't take a good screenshot to save my life, but wow, there are some people that can really take good screenshots. And then in our fan site news section of our Chronicle, DDO Cast is talking about leveling 10 through 12 as that series of podcasts continues. A Very Bad Guild has put together a clip of their highlights, so click over and watch that. Baklagor is playing DDO every Sunday or Saturday night over on the official Twitch channel for DDO, so check that out, and also check out some of his other videos. It is a enjoyable show to watch. I enjoy watching that show. Musk has returned to streaming DDO. Musk hasn't been around for a while, took a break, but now he's back and he's streaming again, so welcome back, Musk. Glad to have you back. And Ozzy is playing his 007 build, so click over and check that build out. Ozzy has been doing some great builds here of late, so if you're into the building of characters, check out all of Ozzy's posts. And Even Note is get Tangling in Roots. I'll give you one guess of where she was questing.
And in those items, concerning the DDO cast thing about 10 through 12, are they going to have to change that whole thing after Ravenloft comes out?
Yeah, I don't know. I was going to have to ask Patrick about that because you would think they would have to because, yeah, it's going to like mess everything up because at 10, you can go to Ravenloft, so you should go to Ravenloft when you're 10.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess it depends how evil Ravenloft is because, you know, Ravenloft, evil.
Well, it's going to be evil, of course.
Of course. Goes hand in hand. And, of course, we have our Chronicle comment of the week, which I have not even read this week, so this is going to be good. Which is scarier, a wraith or a zombie?
I have to apply Pine Leaf logic for this. I will say the wraith.
Okay, and break us down the thought logic process for that.
Because zombies are a lot slower, they're a lot easier to see, and therefore less likely to go and tear me to pieces, I would think. Because the wraith is going to come inside me, get into my body, be almost impossible to kill. Yeah, that's a lot scarier to me.
Okay, that is a very solid logic you use there, sir. I will concede the question to you.
All right, but what is yours on a more...
You know, I don't know. See, my question is, I'm going to get like all technical on the question, and I'm going to say, what type of zombie is it? Are we talking like Walking Dead zombie? Are we talking George Romero zombie? Are we talking World War Z zombies?
I guess I was just assuming a vanilla D&D zombie.
Okay, for the vanilla D&D zombie versus the vanilla D&D Wraith, I would probably say the Wraith, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely out of those two.
But yeah, I guess there are some types of zombies from some worlds where, yeah, they could be quite scary.
Yes, are we talking about the 7 Days to Die zombies that run? See, that is just scarier than I'll get out when you have about 40 zombies running at you.
I'm just trying to think the zombies from The Expanse.
Oh, yeah. And Nightpon is saying, the Plants vs. Zombies? Very scary. Yeah, but they wear cool little hard hats, though, so it's okay. And then we have our official screenshot of the week. This week it is Draconius. That is an awesome name. Prepares to get spooky on some devils in the 337th DDO screenshot of the week.
So that means it's finally time to get to the store sales and anything really nice and exciting on sale this week.
There is some decent stuff this week. 20% off tomes of Heroic and Epic Learning, select stat tomes and skill tomes, and the much-loved Harper Agent Enhancement Tree, all at 20% off in the DDO store. We have a free sample of the week through the 19th, which is going to be a lasting potion of Resist Fire. You will get 5 of those, and those are plus 10 to your fire resist when you use the coupon code DATRESIST, DATRSIST, DATRESIST.
Okay. Then let's see what's coming in from the dungeon. And it looks like we are going to get some nice, beautiful Christmas cards to go with your... I'm wondering, are you familiar with a comic called the Irregular Comic?
I know
web comic.
I know the name, but I've never actually seen the comic.
Well, every year on Christmas Eve, they do a Cthulhuized Christmas Carol.
Okay, now that would be awesome.
Right. And I think they will go perfect with some of these cards.
Yes, it would, because these are, you guessed it, Cthulhu Christmas cards. I mean, how cool is that? It sounds exactly what it sounds like. These are Christmas cards that you can send to your loved ones, but they have the one and the only Cthulhu on them. There is going to be 6 different designs, and they're going to be released in boxes of 12 cards, 2 of the design per each box. On the inside, of course, is going to be Mythos-themed verses of Seasonal Joy. So there you go. I mean, who wouldn't want to receive a Cthulhu Christmas card?
I have a feeling I know 1 or 2 people who might just wonder about it.
Exactly. It's like, why are you sending me a squid on my Christmas card? This Kickstarter's up and running now. It is by the fine folks over at Rock Digital, and that name might sound familiar to you. They are the ones that just came out with the video game version of Ogre. You have 26 days to go on the Kickstarter. They are not doing too bad for being where they're at on the Kickstarter. They're at 62% of the goal as we record this. And I said 26 days to go. You can get in on this for, let's see, you can get 1 box of cards for $16, give or take, due to the currency conversion.
Currency conversion? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they're based out of England, so the Kickstarter's in pounds, so you have to take the pounds to the dollar, and you know how that goes. But about $16 for a pack of 12.
All right. And when are they expecting delivery?
That is a good question. Let's see.
Oh, December 2017.
Yes, going to say that. I thought they had said Christmas of this year.
Oh, that's the... No. Oh, actually, November, it looks like, for the cards themselves for the basic pack. Okay, November then. Yeah, okay, so we'll be in time to actually send for Christmas.
To spread the Cthulhu holiday cheer.
Holiday cheer. All right. If you say so. Let's see what's on the tabletop. And we'll begin with an interview. You seem to be on to the interviews this week because you also interviewed Justin DeWitt from Fireside Games. And anything special talked about there?
I did, yes. We talked about the history of Fireside Games, and we spent some time talking about his latest releases, Hot Shots and Kaiju Crush, and a little bit about the tour that he just wrapped up and what the motivation behind the tour was. That was the Smash and Burn tour that we did talk about, and I talked about going to the one at my friendly local game store. And was going to do the interview with him there, but time kind of ran out with us, so we had to postpone it a little bit. Well, we finally found some time that would work for both of us and had a little chat just about the game industry, game design, the two new games, Kaiju Crush and Hot Shots, and just a fun little interview if you want to hear about the game industry a little bit and what it's like for a designer and a owner of a game company that's actually releasing games. And it was interesting, though. I did ask him the fact that why don't they use Kickstarter? So I will leave that for him to answer in the interview. How's that for a tease, finally?
All right. And one of the games is Hot Shots, a wildfire fighting game. Considering the number of wildfires we had this year.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of apropos. This game came out, but yes. And look for reviews of both of these up on the site probably within the next maybe week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that.
All right. And do you have anything upcoming that's stranger than that?
We do. Stranger Things. We all know Stranger Things is coming back for season 2. Yay! That'll be hitting Netflix just in a few days. We don't have very much longer to wait. It seems like we've been waiting forever for season 2 of Stranger Things, but it's going to drop on October the 27th. They did announce they are teaming up with Hasbro for a series of Stranger Things tabletop games. And the first game is the Stranger Things Eggo card game.
Eggo?
Eggo. Yes, you heard me right. Eggo.
Or you have to let go of a card or something?
Actually, you do, kind of. It's almost like Uno in a way. You're going to be drawing cards, and then with those cards, you can either send the other players to the upside down, or you can make your opponent draw 2 cards, reverse the order of play, or you can summon the dreaded Demigorgon, or you can cause a rift that will send everyone to the upside down. Or if they were in the upside down, that rift will cause them to move from the upside down to the right side up. It's Stranger Things. It all makes sense if you watch Stranger Things.
All right.
And, of course, the box looks like a box of Eggos, so that's just amazingly awesome.
Okay. And, of course, what series of games would not include a version of everybody's favorite game to hate, Monopoly?
Yes, Stranger Things Monopoly is coming as well. And, of course, this is going to be set around the town of Hawkins, Indiana. And you're going to have a silver bicycle, a camera, a television, and a tennis shoe token to choose from. And a gold version in each box that is going to be flipped, of course, to represent that token is in the upside down. Plays just like Monopoly, but yet everything is to do with Stranger Things, so it makes sense. And then the final thing coming out Stranger Things-wise is the Stranger Things Ouija board.
Ouija board?
You can't make this stuff up, folks.
You can't, no.
It's going to allow you to communicate with those poor souls that are trapped in the upside down through the board, whether it's Will's Warfare or tracking the monster's whereabouts. The included Ouija planchette will help you gather important answers and keep tabs on the poor city of Hawkins, Indiana's parallel dimension, the Upside Down. The game does include one game board and a plastic planchette. MSRP on the Stranger Things Ouija is $19.99. And these will be out soon. Let me see. The Monopoly is $24.99 MSRP, and the Stranger Things Eggo is $14.99 for the MSRP. And this is Netflix and Hasbro teaming together to just hype Stranger Things.
Then let's head into a review of a video game or I should say the video game that we've been hyping about for a while, and that is Tales from Candlekeep, Tomb of Annihilation.
We have been talking about it for a while, but that's because we were a little excited about it. So yes, it's actually out now. Pine Leap and I have both played it. I did finally get my review up. I was hoping to actually have the review up the day it came out, but, real life got in the way. So I was a couple days off on that, but still managed to get the review up today. And funny story, I had to change my review because one of the things I was complaining about in the game, they patched and took out of the game today.
Yeah.
So, good on Beacon Studios.
Yeah, I applied that patch just before we went on air.
Yes, you did. I was talking to you when you said you were patching. But yes, of course, this is based off the upcoming WizKids Tomb of Annihilation board game. It is the adventure system board game. And let me get this out here right now. I have read several people's reviews, and I've read people talking about it on Steam and read some of the Steam reviews. And people seem to be very confused about what this game is. If you're going into this game thinking, oh, this is a D&D game, so this is going to be like Neverwinter Nights, or this is going to be like Baldur's Gate, right? No, it is not. This is based off of the adventure system board games, so this is a board game. It is a board game video game. It sounds just what it sounds like. And I think a lot of people just saw the D&D name and just automatically assumed it was an RPG and jumped on it, and then were like either A, very, very confused about what was going on, or B, they were very upset because they didn't understand the rules of the board game, right. And they were complaining. It's like, well, how can I do anything? It just forces me to do all these encounters, and then I die all the time. It's like every time I move, I get an encounter.
Yeah, I know there are people complaining about the encounter system. Yes, that is the way that operates. And if you don't know how to play the game, or if you don't know the ins and outs of the game, yeah, it can be very brutal, I have a feeling.
Oh, yeah, and I talked about in the review, there's ways to cancel those encounters. The first way is just make sure that you end your move that you're on an edge of a tile so you can explore a new tile. And you may still get an encounter because some tiles have encounters built onto them. But the reason why you're constantly getting encounters is you're not exploring tiles. You need to explore tiles because if you don't explore a tile, you're going to get an encounter. So that is one way to cancel that. The other way is in the video game version, they have what they call adrenaline, and you get that by defeating monsters, and you can spend your adrenaline to cancel an encounter out. And some of the player characters you can play will have the option to cancel an encounter out as well.
Right. Now, as for the adrenaline thing, that replaces the XP mechanism for within the game in the board game.
The board game version, correct. So that is one thing to keep in mind. But I like I said, I think a lot of people went into this just seeing D&D, Tomb of Annihilation, and thought, oh, this is an RPG. And then, yeah, got really, really confused. And some people were very angry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you kind of should have did a little research before you just jumped in on the game. I mean, but personally, that's what I would have done. Because, yeah, I could see, but then again, I can see their point. If I didn't know what the adventure system games were, and I just got this game, and I thought it was an RPG, I probably would be a little upset too. So I can see their side, but then I don't see their side either.
But they didn't see, because all the stuff in there, because, for example, the teaser video is showing that tiles dropping down and stuff like that. Sounds very board game-ish to me.
Right, yeah, I don't know. People, People, what are you going to do? But, yeah. As I kind of alluded to, I love the game. I like the game a lot. I didn't have a problem with the game other than they added this crafting system into the game, which I know why they added it. I can see from the developer side why they added the crafting system, but my God, did they implement it wrong.
Yeah. Well, actually, what I'm thinking of is, because this seems to be something similar to, I know it has a little bit more than it, something similar to the board game's advancement system during the campaign, which is pretty much taken off of that of Temple of Elemental Evil, and that is where you buy these upgrades as you go along.
Right, and that's kind of what they based it off of. But what they did with it, now keep in mind, this has now changed, but this was I had a couple paragraphs in my review that I just like railed on this because I'm like, this is horrible. What it was is when you are exploring the dungeon, you may find chests in the dungeon, and you open those chests and you get material that you can craft. Once you finish the dungeon, you get chests, and those will have the material that you need to craft. And then what you do is, if you have enough materials, your character portrait usually has an anvil there. If it has tools that are like moving up and down, that means you have enough material to craft something. And you can use that to upgrade your weapons, upgrade your armor, which, okay, that makes sense. But how they implemented it in the game was you would have a set chance to succeed in crafting the item. So it started at like 50%. So you could pay, now keep in mind, this is in-game gold. There was a lot of people that were saying you had to pay real money. No, this was not a real money system. It seemed that way because of how it was implemented, but it was not. You also got gold as you were adventuring, and as you finished quest, you got gold. You could spend your in-game gold that you got to up your chances of success on your crafting. But you still might have failed. And I know Pine Leaf said he did the same thing I did. I had saved my gold. I wanted to craft the second tier bow for Artemis. So I saved enough gold to where I could get my chance to succeed up to 99%. And I still failed.
Yeah. I did the same thing for the wizard, and of course failed. And later on, when I finally got enough money again to try for it, I accidentally was on Birdsong and bought it on Birdsong and said, Birdsong, I don't play Birdsong.
Oops. No. But yeah, so it was just, it was bad. And then, of course, when you fail, you lose your material and your money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was bad. Well, today, about 15 minutes after I put this review up, I get an email from Become Studios, and they're like, we read the review, we appreciated the review, here's what we're going to do. We're going to release a patch later today, which is now live. That is going to fix the crafting. And what they did is they removed that failure altogether. All items are going to have a 100% success chance to craft now. And the costs are going to be set to 80% of the current prices. So.
Yeah. Right, because it started around 50 or 60, right, and that there was an 80, and the price that it was at the 80% mark is what they're charging. So it's a little bit more expensive than it was if you went at the basic level, but I don't think I ever did an attempt with less than 80% anyway.
I stopped after I failed with that 99. I got so pissed off about it, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to craft again. This is stupid.
Yeah, it was.
I'm just going to struggle through and hope I can get through this game without having to craft. But now it's okay. So, and this is just one time where they patch the game due to feedback from the game players. So it's awesome. Become Studios is listening. They're reading reviews. They're reading what people are saying on Steam. They're listening when they do their live streams, people in their chats talking. So they're taking these suggestions and they're changing things. Another thing they're changing today as well is in the board game, there is spawn points that will spawn ambushes. And there's some encounters where if you're in one of those spawn points, you will get an ambush and you'll get ambushed. Well, the problem in the video game version of this, you didn't know what an ambush point was.
Yeah.
So you just had to hope you weren't on that specific tile.
Oh, remember where the monsters popped up when you first entered the tile. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So that is now fixed too. They are going to...
That's not fixed. That's coming in a few days.
Oh, I thought that was in this patch. I'm sorry.
No. They announced that there are two things in this patch. One was to fix FPS issues, and the other one was the crafting thing. Because those were considered to be an emergency. They went into those right away. And coming in later this week is going to be the spawning points thing the being able to mouse over a monster and display the stats, which is something I had asked about during their last live stream, because that was really annoying that you can't look at the stats of a monster unless it's a monster that you control. But 99% of the time, I'm killing a monster on the other player's turn, and I can't see the stats.
Right.
And they're saying they're doing an adjustment of the line of sight. Now, that is actually the thing that is bugging me in there, because in the board game, as far as I know, there is no line of sight restriction whatsoever. And the number of times I've gotten burned because of line of sight, because I'm used to playing this game without line of sight, is
right. Yeah. So overall, like I said, my biggest problem with the game has now been fixed. So it is just amazingly good, and it feels like you're playing the board game. So you can check out the full review over on DDOplayers.com now. And Gums Gang in the chat is saying, failed with a 99% success chance. The RNG legend lives on. You are correct, sir.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just amazing to me. They captured the feel of the board game in a video game, which usually video game translations of board games feels like you're playing a video game still. It's like, yeah, I recognize this because I know the board game. But this, to me, felt like you were playing the board game, so I think they got that right. And the other thing they're doing right is they're listening to their community, and they're fixing things that people are suggesting, or adding stuff that people are suggesting. So definitely add this to your Steam wish list if you don't yet, and check it out. It's a great game. Right now, single player only. Multiplayer is coming at some point.
Right. They said that they want to make sure that they get the single player solid first, which means taking care of things like ambush points and the crafting system before they start to add new complications to it. So let's head on to what we did during the week. And Jarak, what were you up to?
Not a lot. Oh. I had another one of my week from hell, so yeah, I did not get a lot of gaming in. The only DDO I did is actually what I did with you on Wednesday night.
Yikes.
Sadly, yeah. So, but I foresee a lot of DDO in my future because of Night Rebels and the dagger and the red armor that I want. So I'm seeing a lot of Night Rebels in my future, and my friend's future if you're listening, because I know you listen to the podcast. So be prepared. We're going to run Night Rebels a lot, and I'm sure Pine Leaf and I will run it as well, at least one time.
Okay. I'm just worried about a certain dungeon that
I'll get you through the cold chamber. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
You might not be happy about it, but I'll get you through it. So I'll let you talk about that. The only other thing I did besides Tales from Candlekeep Tomb of Annihilation, I did play that because I was playing that for my review, which we just talked about, was jump back into 7 Days to Die. I have not played that for a long time, but we came up with, and when I say we, that is the damsels, which of course would be Mithri, Saba, and Alessa, and Mithri's husband Cad, and Rent, who we started out with a static group on DDO, which is kind of on hold right now because we kind of got sucked into 7 Days to Die. At some point, we'll get back to DDO. And then we brought Patrick from DDO Cast in, and one of his friends, and another person who Myth and Saba has known for a while is also playing as well. And what we decided to do is we've been playing 7 Days to Die for a while, and we've got to the point where when we all band together, we all have certain jobs, we all know what to do, we get a good base and stale. So we were talking about how can we spice this up and kind of make this game fun again. So we decided to do a team permadeath challenge. So what we did is we split up into two groups, and there is 4 people in my group, and they have 6 people in the other group. But that's because some of them can't play every week, so that way, and we decided there has to be 3 members of your team on, or we don't play. And the only time we play is when we can all play together, and there's at least 3 people on each team to make it fair. So what we're doing is we We don't know where the other team is. The other team does not know where we are. We're going to build up our bases, build up our defenses and all that. And then we're going to see how long we can all survive. Once you're dead, you are dead. So like if, let's say, for example, the first horde night, I die, I'm out. And then my team only has 3 people left. And then let's say 2 of their people die, well, they're out. So it's basically the last person and the last team standing. So we're just going to see how long it's going to take for us to survive as a team.
All right. And is this PvP or just...
No, it is PvE.
Okay, it is PvE. Okay.
We said no PvP, but we can't, and there's no sabotage either, but we can if, for example, we end up, the map is huge in 7 Days to Die, so the chances of this happening is fairly light, but let's say we end up, building bases fairly close to each other, and there's only like so many, towns and stuff to like loot and raid. Well, if we get to, say, a town closest to them first and we loot it all, that's fair. We're not really sabotaging them on purpose. We just got there first. But, we can't, purposely, do something that will sabotage them and cause one of them to die because, that wouldn't be fair. That's, kind of against the spirit of the thing. And basically, we're just doing this to have fun.
Right. Okay.
But yeah,
so
it's fun.
No proximity atom bombs then to.
Yeah, exactly. And no PvP, which was kind of funny because the option on the server is you can have friendly fire on, and we thought we had that turned off. And the first house that that my team all went in, we found a wall safe. And we were all beating on that wall safe with our stone axes to try to break that open in hopes, because usually in wall safe there's usually guns or money or some good stuff. Well, I got a little too close to Saba and she hit me and she about killed me in one hit.
Ouch.
I went from 100% to 45%, and I was like, oh hey, friendly fire's not turned off. So yeah, that would have been kind of embarrassing. It's yeah, well, I'm dead already. We just started and
killed by a teammate, yeah.
And killed by Saba, yeah. So that is now fixed. We have rectified that. So yeah. So it's fun. We're having fun. We played, and our goal is to play at least once a week, probably on Sunday nights. We figured is the best time, but we're going to see if we have to switch that around. We can, but so it's just something fun. We're trying just to kind of make the game fun. So far, it is a blast. I had a bunch of fun on Sunday night. So that was pretty much really all of my game time this week. So how about you, Pine Leaf? What were we up to? And then what were you up to? I'm guessing you were running around a jungle, probably.
Probably. We'll begin, though, with my halfling wizard, level 7, where we decided to team up together and start preparing for Ravenloft. So we went into the Temple of Elemental Evil Part 1 and ran through all of that. It went reasonably well. Even the boss fight wasn't too much of a problem because we quickly got the Earth Elemental on our side.
Yeah, the club actually worked right, because the last time I ran the temple, the club bugged out and it wouldn't work on the Earth Elemental. So that fight is so much easier when you have his help.
Yeah. Then on my Dragonborn Artificer, I went through Tangleroot's Gorge and did everything from First Strike all the way up to Doom of the Witch Doctor. Then I went to House Fiolarland and ran Caged Trolls.
See, and there's another quest I always forget about that I love. Yeah. I love that quest, and I always forget about running it.
Yeah, so I managed to get all that done. Didn't quite hit level 6, though, so we'll have to go in a little bit more, and hopefully I could start getting a couple more levels on there. Then on video games, I did quite a bit of Tales of Candlekeep Tomb of Annihilation, where I ran through the first half of the campaign, and just about all the side quests also. They're along the way on that. I think there's still one that I might have missed.
Some of those side quests are hard, too.
Yeah, the only one I haven't done yet is one where you have to disable all those traps.
Yeah, that's the one I'm on. I haven't done it yet. I kind of moused over to see what it was, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have time for that. I'll do that later.
Right. I suspect that if I do that one, I'll probably have to train up Bird. Does Birdsong have an advantage on disabling traps?
Yes.
Okay, because I know she has an advantage of walking over traps, I think.
Yes,
right?
she can also disable as well.
Okay, yes, so Birdsong, I was thinking that maybe I have to get Birdsong. Well, actually, seeing how I accidentally trained her up on the armor class.
Yeah, hey, there you go, see?
So maybe it will come in handy for...
It sounds like it will.
For bringing her in, especially since I do have all 4 slots open, so I can. It's just I've usually been playing with 2 characters because that's the number I feel most comfortable playing with.
See, I always play with 4.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's too long to get to the characters you want with doing it with 4, so I've always been playing with 2. I do wonder, with 2 or 4, yeah. Oh, lost train of thought there. But anyway, I've gotten about halfway through it, and, oh yes, what I found strange is I haven't failed a mission yet. And I found that rather strange because I'm saying, wait a minute, I've come really close to failing a couple times for this time where I was going a boss fight and failed 5 hits in a row.
And you still won?
And I still won that one.
Oh, good God.
Because I think I had to do everything I could in order to avoid getting killed that last time and having to use up that last healing surge. Actually, I used up all my healing surge, and so if I got killed again, and of course it came back to that character, then boom, it would be over. But I failed 5 times in a row before I finally got that pterosaur, that the villain version of the pterosaur that was really is like missed, and I still managed to get there. And the other one where I really almost, I'd say, hurt myself, so to speak, is I thought, well then, rather than just running to the exit, standing there, and it'll be finished. So I wasn't sure how it gave you credit for finishing up or anything like this. I thought, well, I'm next to a monster. Might as well try for an extra treasure. Let's bash this monster and go. Now, of course, this turned out that because you can't check the stats for monsters that aren't under your control, I didn't realize this one was one that sort of throws disintegrate when you kill it. So it wound up killing Dragonbait as a result of this. Dragonbait, I think, used probably the last healing surge at that point, or either that or his special ability. After that, I decided maybe I don't want to kill extra monsters along the way.
Yeah, I'd probably be a little gun shy after that too.
So yes, you have to be careful on that. But I'm thinking either A, normal isn't quite as hard as the board game, or B, I'm starting to get good at this game because obviously someone who's never played D&D adventure board system probably are finding the normal is probably finding it tough. I suspect that if I had not been playing the other 4 board games before this, I would not have gotten through half of those.
Yeah, I guess I can kind of see that. That's probably a little advantage you would have if you would be familiar with the adventure systems.
Right, and take advantage of every little thing you've got there. But I have a feeling that means that it won't be long before I'll be ready to bump up the difficulty or something like this. But first, I'm getting pretty close. I think I have only one more adventure to do before I start to hit the tombs, and I suspect the tombs are not going to be easy.
That's when you bump it up to horrific, finally.
Hey, look, the tomb is horrific just at normal. I mean, we are talking about the Tomb of Horrors after all. Oh, no, the Temple of the Nine
Gods, yeah.
Yes.
Which is basically the Tomb of Horrors. Basically.
Yes.
Inspired by the Tomb of Horrors. How's that?
Inspired by the Tomb of Horrors, yes. Then also this week I was playing some more Minecraft where I was building the Corridor of Bones. And when I was doing the Corridor of Bones, I had this idea of why not try using bone blocks all in different types of styles for my floor for this. And I think I've managed to create the ugliest floor ever created in the history of Minecraft. I looked at that thing and said, no, that's not lasting. I tore it apart and redid the floor. It was a really horrible looking floor. But since it's called the corridor of bones, I was thinking that I'm going to use this as my kennel, and that's where I'm going to keep my all the dogs I've trained. And I even went out all over the place on my island because I live on a mega taiga island, and it's incredible how long it took me to find a second wolf on that island. You would think there'd be wolves all over the place on this island because it is a mega taiga, but it took me forever to find them. But finally I got them, so now I have a number of wolves that I can train up, and I'm hoping at some point to build a wolf-based skeleton farm because I've got 3 skeleton farms on my base. 3 different skeleton spawners, and turning at least one of those into a wolf-based skeleton farm would be a good thing to do. And then on tabletop games, I was playing Baseball Highlights 2045, and I'm about halfway through my first series, so to speak, where what I did is I ran in the rules. What they say to do when you're playing solo is to just go directly to draft. Forget about is to do 3 rounds of drafting and then go into the main series, best of 7. And what I decided to do was, since I needed to warm up on the game a little bit, I went through actually a short series first, where of course I was just clobbered 0 games to 3, and then do the draft after that. So at least it was more like the normal game, and that gave me an idea how the game flowed, so that I would be better off when I started doing the series. And so currently on the main series, and I'm leading 2 games to 1, which is rather strange because usually you start off on the wrong foot on the main series, because I've heard people usually going down first 3 games and then scratching their way back during the next 4 games because your team is in pretty poor shape when you first go into it, and then you slowly build them up. So I'm having a little fun with that. I don't know, have you ever played Baseball Highlights 2045?
I have not.
Okay. You've heard of it, right? Or
yes,
not?
I've heard of it, and I've seen like other people play it, like at conventions and stuff. I've seen it played.
Right.
But I just haven't actually played it.
All right. We currently have 23 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to help support DDO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on a podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of DDO. We do not have any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlliance, DDO Players @DDO Players, Draculette @Draculette_72, and Pineleaf @Pineleaf Mules. The Players Alliance has 2 live shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lojo Players News. You can join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Mules reminding you to quest responsibly.